Hello, everyone. Welcome to Module 4 of EDU 695, our special topics class around instructional coaching and mentoring teachers. I am Anita Stewart McCafferty with the Educational Leadership Department at the University of Southern Maine, and it is my privilege to walk you through Module 4, which focuses around maintaining balance and interest and also effective teaching strategies. Our guiding questions for this week are, how do you help your novice or collaborating teacher keep all learners engaged? That's a tough one. Even as a veteran teacher, that's a tough one. What does your mentee or collaborating teacher need to know about support? And how will you keep students central to the mentoring conversations and encourage parent communication? Again, that through line around student involvement, student engagement, student voice, and also parent communication. Another guiding question for this week, how can a mentor or coach deepen their understanding of effective high-impact teaching strategies that address different aspects of teaching? And the final guiding question, how can mentors and coaches help their collaborating teachers gain a deeper understanding of and implementation of teaching strategies? Our 3 module objectives are: design a draft instructional playbook that one could use when mentoring and coaching. I'm excited about this particular objective because there's a wonderful learning activity that's going to combine that objective and the objective of creating checklists for various teaching strategies. So as part of this instructional playbook, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment when I unveil the learning activities for this week. And the third module objective is to explain how you might respond to a mentoring dilemma. So again, we're going to go back to looking at a dilemma and being able to think about, okay, now based on what I know about best practices around mentoring and instructional coaching, how might I respond? Where are the areas where I might still feel stuck and where I might need support as a mentor or a coach? This week, we're going to continue in Module 4 with our readings. And so we're going to continue reading Part 2 of the Mentoring in Action book and reading December. So for those of you who have been in teaching for a while or in education for a while, you'll know that time around the holidays can be a particularly tough time for all educators, and certainly for those that are either new to our schools or new to our profession. So we're going to delve into December and thinking about how we can help our teachers be able to maintain balance, and so that they don't become completely overwhelmed, stressed out, sort of disillusioned, all of those things that can easily happen as part of the cycle of the year. We also want to look at, through that particular chapter, how do you maintain student interest? Because students are experiencing a lot of emotions typically during this time period as well. And so we want to think about that. There are, of course, some videos that correspond with that you'll be viewing. And then you'll be reading Chapter 4 of the Impact Cycle, and then looking at the materials and reading the materials. It's quite a chunk, the instructional playbook. The instructional playbook is one of my favorite parts of this particular resource. And I love the idea because it helps to really explore this notion of teaching strategies. So how do we keep track of those and then create summaries and guides and checklists to help ourselves, but certainly to help those teachers that we collaborate with around improvement. You'll be looking at it as part of your learning activity, as I mentioned, creating a draft of an instructional playbook yourself, where you'll look at teaching practices, strategies, and checklists. So instructional playbooks contain those 3 components, sort of a 1-page list of all of the teaching practices that are in the playbook, a 1-page summary of each of the teaching strategies, and then checklists that coaches may use with teachers when explaining teaching strategies. So the summary for each strategy is only about a page long. It provides an overview of the strategy so that teachers can quickly decide if it's something that would be worthwhile for a particular situation that they might be experiencing. Much more detailed information about the strategies is communicated by coaches through the use of checklists during the learning stage of coaching. So then that brings us to the third component of the instructional playbook, and that's this idea of checklists. So checklists make it easy to remember, to describe, and to model instructional practices. They also help to ensure that there's deep knowledge of content and reinforced knowledge of the practices, and they help the coach communicate them effectively. For these reasons, checklists make up the bulk of the instructional playbook. There are many examples of checklists in Chapter 4 of the Impact Cycle, and also in that appendices, the instructional playbook sample in the book. So what you're going to do for this week is to compose and submit a draft instructional playbook that includes a brainstorm list of all the teaching strategies that you think that you might eventually want to include in a playbook, some version of a playbook. Then you're going to include at least 3 one-page descriptions of teaching strategies and at least 2 checklists that might help describe the teaching practices contained in the playbook. So ideally, as I said, this instructional playbook would be something that you begin drafting here, but that it continues as something that you would practically use and be able to implement with those that you coach and/or mentor. The discussion for this week is once again looking at a mentoring dilemma. So being able to take what you're learning, what you've experienced so far, and apply it to a dilemma that you might experience as you're mentoring or coaching. I hope you have a wonderful week of learning, and remember to maintain balance yourself. You are 4 weeks in to a really condensed course, and it's a lot of work. So, make sure that you're getting out and getting some, exercise and some vitamin D, and that you're getting sleep and rest, because that's important. Laugh, enjoy, take some time for you. Self-care is not selfish. It's really important. And so that's part of the work that we do to help one another as we support, mentors and coaches. And it's certainly the work that we want to be able to do as we work with collaborating teachers and novices. So take care of yourself, be good to yourself, and happy learning.